NEEMA got me laughed out of a group chat. So I didn't like the Duke center pick, right? So I reach out to NEEMA like, yo, son, tell me about my son, Dereck Lively. He's like, yo, he's like a baby version of Porzingis. So I go into my Mavs group chat like, yo, I got it from a well-trusted source. My man Lively, he gonna light shit up. I may have been wrong in my hate.
I just meant on defense.
Bro, he say he's a lights out shooter. He said all they gotta do is run pick and pops for him and Luka. So I take that information to the Mavs Moneyball Slack, and he laughed at me for the next 7 minutes.
Hey, you know what's funny?
His three, the motherfucker shot 15% from three on 1.2 attempts per game.
That's fine. Duke didn't let him shoot.
You want to hear something funny here?
He shot like 20 and 25 in his clutch workout.
I was in a group chat earlier, and this is a good segue to what we're going to discuss on the podcast. But my boy goes, Kings fan, obviously. My boy goes, oh, Draymond would be a good fit on the Kings. I said, for what? That'd be 3 non-shooters. He goes, Fox is a great shooter.
What?
I said, men lie, women lie, numbers never lie. He's 32% from 3. He's like, that's about average. I'm like, that's 3% below average, brother.
Isn't that like 4% below average?
Average is between 35 and 37, depending on the year. I was trying to give him benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that's crazy that he
is crazy.
A great shooter.
For what it's worth, Lively's a way better shooter than Duke let him be. Like it's like well known. He like shot way more in high school, and Duke didn't let him shoot. So I think if after a little bit, I mean, it's gonna be his role is gonna be really easy at first. It's just gonna be rim run, go block shots, go rebound the ball. Eventually, when he's more involved in the offense, he'll probably be in like a lot of pick and pop shit with Luka. So
let me ask you real quick before we move on to shit, because I wrote an article recently and the shit did numbers, but I was getting roasted for like 3 days on Twitter. So my take was that the Mavs lack talent, and I believe in NEEMA, right? He's gonna set screens. He's gonna be a rim runner. He's gonna hopefully block shots, play defense. Do you take that kind of player at 12, right? Or if you're going to move back from 10 and potentially pass on Case and Williams, that's like a role player, right? The Mavs aren't in a position to draft role players for fit and need. We need an infusion of talent. So I'd like what the Wizards did with Bilal Coulibaly. From everything I hear is like he's raw. No, he's raw as hell, right? And there's maybe a small chance that he hits his ceiling, but if he hits that ceiling, that could potentially be a really good player. Like if Lively hits his ceiling, he's what? Like Christian Wood? But that you shouldn't be that's like drafting a running back 5th when, like the Texans. Like if you're the Chiefs, you can draft a running back in the first round. But if you're the Texans and you're rebuilding and you need talent and you need versatility and dynamism, you should be swinging for the fences as opposed to moving back in and selecting a role-playing, limited role player like Lively if you're the Mavericks. Do y'all agree with that?
Yeah, so I think the big man job for the most part is pretty easy as long as you have like a decent feel of like when to roll, all like being a good like screen setter, just being able to finish a little bit around the rim and all that. So like it is pretty replaceable. It is pretty easy to like find a big who is able to do that stuff. And the Mavs did just pick up Richaun Holmes, who does all those things like at a decent level, at much better than any Mavs center in recent memory has done. So I mean, I know Deion's shaking his head because he's stunk with the Kings, but like,
nah, he hates Holmes, bro. Like he really hates.
I know, but like he's still better than Dwight Powell. He's still better than whatever Christian tried to be. Like, you have him in that rotation, so getting Lively is a little bit interesting, especially in the short term. I think in the long term he is a good fit. But you look at the other guys that were drafted after him, like Grady Dick, really good shooter. Would be nice to have him around Luka, but like not really an immediate need. Jordan Hawkins, kind of same thing. Kobe Buffkin as a guard, he's probably never really going to be like. There's a good amount of guards in Dallas. Same with Keontae George, same with Jalen Hood-Schifino. So those are all the guys that kind of went right after him. And you look at like even Cam Whitmore, with all the health issues or whatever else that people wanted to say that made him slide. Like it really comes down to like Dereck Lively and Noah Clowney. I'm sure Dallas worked out Noah Clowney. I'm sure they didn't also expect him to, be the pick at 12. I did like that they traded down, got rid of the Bertans contract, and you get Lively at 12 versus at 10. Cason Wallace, as good as he is, again, the
Can't
Thunder,
shoot.
I think he fits well in the Thunder, but the Mavericks, you guys want to be competing. Luka, potentially Kyrie back another year. That's a competitive team. Dereck Lively can play minutes. The only thing is he has competition with Dwight Powell, with Richaun Holmes, but he can play minutes immediately. Where those other guys, especially the guards, they just kind of get in the way, and if they're not really willing to, play their role in a good way, that could be a little bit more detrimental to y'all. That's one or two losses, and whenever you're a team that struggled to make the play-in this year, didn't make the play-in this year, 1 or 2 games makes a big difference, especially on that bubble. So you go for the guy who's going to go just make his role really easy, set screens for Luka, catch some lobs, block shots, rebound the ball. Occasionally, you're going to pick and pop your rookie year. Make your role really simple, play off Luka, play off Kyrie, and he's able to play 12, 15 minutes a game where Hawkins, Dick, Buffkin, George, if they're not hitting, you don't play them, and that's down a rotation player.
He can guard guards, which is my thing with bigs. That's why I don't hate
switchable.
Yeah, that's why I don't hate the drafting. Is like if you draft a big that has no shot against guards, then you wasted your time because he's unplayable in the playoffs, unless he's Jokic or Embiid, right? This guy can guard guards, so it's like come playoff time, he's still able to be on the court, which is massive.
Well, I mean, that does help. I mean, and again, to be fair, I don't know any of these prospects, but what I'm saying, I guess my point of view was just kind of like there's a disconnect between where fans think and where the management thinks the Mavs are and realistically where they are. Like if Kyrie doesn't resign, we have one above average starter. If Kyrie resigns, now we have 2. We still need 3 starters. And is Lively good enough to like anchor a league average defense when we all know that we've seen it with like Mitchell Robinson and other big men? Like, yeah, you can block shots, you might be athletic, but can you avoid fouling out, right? Can you not foul? What's your timing like? Or do you just go for every pump fake and you're out there trying to swat everything when really being a good shot blocker is more nuanced than that, right? Sometimes it's knowing about when not to jump and being better with the timing. And it's like, is he going to be able to be that day one as opposed to year 2, year 3, to where now he has a better feel for the game and he can actually stay on the court. So but that was my thing. But I just want to ask you guys, because obviously I don't know any of these prospects.
I mean, for what it's worth, like, I think he is a pretty good shot blocker in terms of timing, in terms of not biting and all that. You look at Duke, and like, I think the thing with Lively is a lot of people, myself included, especially in the early part of the season, you look at him, you don't look at the numbers he's putting up, look at how he only played like 15, 20 minutes a game really in the first few games of the year. And you're like, well, like, this isn't really a guy I care about, especially because he's just kind of a big man, not really shooting, not really doing much. You look at the roster that Duke played, go straight up 3, like 2 small ball 5s and Dereck Lively. Like Filipowski and Mark Mitchell are both going to be small ball 5s in the NBA. So, they just didn't have the spacing. They didn't have the personnel. And really, Duke this year just went, let's play our 5 best players. And, I mean, it worked out for them in the ACC tournament. Didn't work out for them much throughout the year or in the tournament itself. So, I think that, the good thing is, like Dion said, he can guard guards. He's not just going to be the guy who's sticking in the paint. And he's going to be a pretty good shot blocker. In my opinion, I think the Mavs were hoping Taylor Hendricks would be there at 10, because that's a guy who is timing his blocks, timing his jumps, knows how high to jump whenever he needs to. Like, also just a guy who can hit threes right now, can run the pick and pop with Luka right now. And has, in my opinion, a lot more offensive potential than Dereck Lively is, and potentially even a better defender right now than he is. So I think they were hoping he was there at 10. He wasn't. They were looking to get kind of a small ball 5 or a 5. You trade back a couple picks, get rid of a huge contract. That's a good TPE you can use down the line if you guys are, better than you guys think you will be in the season. If you don't use it, you stay out of the luxury tax. That's good. So I think it was a good move by the Mavericks. I think Lively will get a good amount of minutes throughout the year. And I mean, if he's progressing throughout the year, you make his role really easy on offense. Let him just focus on being a good defender all year. Come playoff time, he can actually get minutes in that rotation.
If they're any good, he won't get minutes. Respectfully, I understand everything you said. I agree with.
You just need 1 or 2 bigs to play. So
everything you said, I agree with. And if he doesn't play, I don't want to make it seem like I feel like that's a detriment to him. I don't think young guys play on good teams. That's just my thing. If they're
fair.
genuinely as good as
They should be.
Mavs fans believe they will be or they should be, then he won't be in the rotation. That's not on him. That's just how the NBA works.